Good afternoon, everyone. We're so glad that you've joined us for our webinar this afternoon. Welcome to the Tips and Tricks of Business Sponsorship. I'm Roberta Smith, and I'm a community engagement specialist based in North Carolina. And I am joined this afternoon by my colleague, Kevin McCoy. Kevin is a community engagement specialist based in Athens, Georgia. And Kevin and I both work in the Southeast region. So we will be facilitating this webinar this afternoon. We're offering this because we certainly believe that business sponsorships are such an important aspect of planning and organizing your local crop hunger walk. When you have business sponsors, it not only provides the needed and necessary funds to cover the cost of overhead for putting on your crop hunger walk, but it also creates an opportunity for you to promote your walk, and then ultimately it increases walk participation as well. We know that business sponsors help to promote the crop hunger walk by posting information about the walk on their website, sharing on social media, and then just sharing flyers in their local business. We also encourage our business sponsors to organize walk teams, and so that they are participating as well. So to that end, it helps to increase participation for your walk. So we hope that in this short time that we have together, that you will learn a few tips and tricks that will help you engage with local businesses in your community in support of your crop hunger walk. So to get us started, we are going to share with you a video with one of our sponsors from the Charlotte Crop Hunger Walk. So Kimberly Talent will join us for this video, and I'm gonna turn this over to Heather so we can share that video.
Hi, folks. I'm here with Kimberly Talent, who is the HR manager for Truly Good Foods, and Truly Good Foods is a longtime sponsor of the Crop Hunger Walk here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, first off, just tell us a little bit about Truly Good Foods. What do you do?
So Truly Good Foods is it's a manufacturing facility that makes snack mixes. So we roast nuts and we mix snack mix, so like trail mix.
Oh, okay, great. In fact, I do know that sometimes you provide us some of your newer snacks at the Crop Walk as an extra bonus for being connected. So it's always fun to see what new things you've got coming out.
We do.
So how long, if you know, how long have you been a business sponsor of the Charlotte Crop Walk?
So we've been, the company's been around since 1977, and they've been involved with the Crop Hunger Walk for over 20 years now.
Ah, that's excellent. All right, so what do you like, or what is Truly Good Foods like about being a business sponsor for the event?
So for us, it's more than just an annual gathering for Truly Good. It's a chance for us all to help champion for those that are struggling with hunger every day, those struggling to find their next meal. And for us, it's a real cause being a food manufacturer. So it kind of hits close to home.
It's a part of your mission as well.
It is a part of our mission, values, and our culture as a company.
Excellent. I also know that each year you have a walking team participate. Uh, can you tell us a little bit about why you encourage your employees to participate on walk day and be a team and fundraise and all that?
Sure. Employees at all levels come together for the crop walk. We, in fact, share a meal prior to the walk. So that kind of puts it at the forefront. And then we walk as a team. It gives us a chance to get to know each other outside of work. And as you said, Truly Good also provides snacks for the event. It lets our employees really see how we can make a difference, one snack at a time, right?
Exactly. Well, gosh, on behalf of the Charlotte Walk, we really appreciate your sponsorship and your engagement as a walking team. And you do a great job every year with fundraising as a team. And we get a chance to meet some of your employees and folks from Truly Good Foods every year. So I just one last, we've got a group of folks here that are considering or doing sponsorships for their own walks. Do you have any suggestions or tips, any thoughts on why a business might consider being a sponsor?
And speaking for Truly Good, we also incorporate the Crop Hunger Walk into our employee appreciation and wellness event as a way of keeping the Crop Hunger Walk and its mission in the forefront. It's just another way for us to educate our employees, and then having you guys there allows them to ask you questions. We feel that it shows, hunger is an ongoing struggle, not just something that we participate in once a year during the walk. So it kind of keeps it moving throughout the year.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you again for your wonderful sponsorship every year of the walk, and we're going to start planning for the new one soon, and look forward to working with you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Heather, let's pull down that video. It looks like I'm having a heart attack or something on screen.
I'm trying. It's not liking me. I cannot get it down. Let's see.
Can
What's
you
it going on?
share? The next part is the PowerPoint. Do you want to just share, give me the power and I'll share my screen?
Yeah, let's try it.
All right, let me know when you can see my screen.
All right. Well,
We have it.
we certainly appreciate. Thank you, Heather. And thank you, Kevin, for that interview with Kimberly. We certainly appreciate the support from Truly Good Foods. It sounds like they are using this opportunity both to as an employee appreciation opportunity, but then also as a team building opportunity. They bring their employees out to participate on Walk Day, and that's awesome. That's exactly what we want our business sponsors to do. So just moving right along. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, and I do want to put in two quick tips or two quick things to mention. One is I think Kimberly is probably on this call with us. So if you have any questions for her about Truly Good Foods, we'll go ahead and take those. You type them in the chat, and we'll take those at the end, and Kimberly can answer those. Also, I'll mention that in addition to everything they've done for the last 20 years as a sponsor, Kimberly has joined the Charlotte planning team. So when you're looking for new planning team members, don't overlook your sponsors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. So we always like to offer some ideas and suggestions that you can walk away with. And our team has created an excellent resource for all of you as you work to recruit business sponsorships. The Business Toolkit is a resource that we have in the resource section of the Crop Hunger Walk website. And what we're doing today, because our time is so limited, we have selected just a few key tips that we want to highlight for you. And these are tips that we believe will be important as you work to secure those business sponsorships. So let's go to the first slide. Way to go, Kevin. So the first tip is to decide what you want to do with the funds and your goal amount. Just like you would do with your Crop Hunger Walk, deciding what your fundraising goal is, it's so important that you also identify, what your goal is for sponsor funds. Some of the most common uses of our sponsor funds would be purchasing T-shirts and And we know that cost has gone up significantly in the last few years. But these security officers, especially for our larger events, they come out and provide safety and security on walk days. So it's important to have that added sense of security for our walkers. You may also want to do some advertising on social media. Even if you have a social media account, sometimes if you want to boost your social media ads so that you're reaching a wider audience, there may be an added cost to do that. Or you may want to run an ad on the radio. So purchasing walk day snacks might be an option, even if you're getting gift cards from a local grocery store. You can include that as a part of your sponsor income. In some of our crop communities, there's also a cost for paying for permits. And so if you live in an area where there is an added cost, you might want to also include that in your budget, your sponsorship budget. And then also you may have a walk in an area where bathrooms are not accessible. You may need to rent porta-johns. So you may also want to consider what is the cost of renting those porta-johns. So all of those things factor into what your overhead costs would be to carry on your walk. And so that's sort of how you would determine what is the amount that we would need to secure from business sponsors in order to cover the cost and help to ensure that all of our Crop Hunger Walk funds go to towards the cause of ending hunger.
Excellent, Roberta. Can I add one more thing? When folks, once you've determined kind of what your cost might be and what you need sponsorship money for, if you end up raising more money than that from sponsors, that's great. You could actually drop those funds into your walk balance and increase the amount of walk money. And it is one of the tricks that the larger walks use all the time to be able to keep hit large goals with their walk money. So let's see. Second tip. Decide on the amount of a sponsorship. So now you got to figure out how much you're going to ask people for. And this varies with all the groups that are doing sponsorships. Some of my walks that I work with like to have one sponsorship, like $200. Everybody give $200, you can get on the t-shirt. Or some of them like to do a two-tiered level, say $250 to get your name on the t-shirt and $500 to get your logo on the t-shirt. Give a little more incentive like that. And still the larger walks will do like 3 levels or something. And at the end of this session, I'll show you some examples, but a very common one would be like $250 as your base level, and maybe you call that something creative like the Great Grain sponsorship, and then $500 is the Amber Harvest, or the Amber Fields. That's right, that's what they call it. And then the third one is $1,000 sponsorship, the Harvest sponsorship. So and then you would have different items that the sponsor would get. And at the end of this session, I'll show you some examples of what that'll look like. So. But anyway, so different ways of approaching it. You kind of decide as a team how you want to do a sponsorship amount.
All right. So another tip is to decide on a business sponsor chairperson and possibly a committee to organize this effort. We think it's important that you have someone specifically assigned to lead the recruitment of business sponsors. And depending on the size of your Crop Hunger Walk, you may need a couple of people to do that, and or like we're suggesting, maybe possibly a committee. Kevin and I both work with some of our larger events, and we usually have at least a couple of members of our planning committee that are primarily focused on securing business sponsors. So we think that's an important position to have if you want to solicit funds for business sponsorship.
Okay, Next tip, identify possible sponsors from your planning team members or your team captains and brainstorm who you're going to approach. Now, this might sound a little bit obvious, just start with the people you know to ask who the sponsors might be. But there are a couple things that are important here. Personal connections make things go much more easily. And also once somebody is suggested, I think my barber might want to give us a sponsorship and get on the t-shirt this year, that kind of thing. Then you pass on that assignment. Well, talk to your barber and maybe give them a little literature as to what the barber might have to look at when they're approached, that kind of thing. But having those personal connections to your business sponsor is much more helpful than just going through the phone book, which I know nobody has phone books anymore, so maybe that's a bad expression. But anyway, you know what I mean. So, one other tip along these lines, when you're brainstorming who to approach, people get kind of caught up in well, we're about hunger, so let's only approach food places, or we're kind of an outdoor sport event, let's only approach sports folks. I'll suggest that you probably ought to look at folks that are that know or work with law firms, accounting firms, they're dentists, maybe local civic clubs they're part of, Kiwanis or Rotary, that kind of thing. Those folks always like to get some recognition being a part of a community charity event like this. So lots of ideas on who to approach, and just send your volunteers out to check on those folks after you give them a little bit of literature that they can pass on.
And then we want to make sure that you're encouraging your business sponsorships to come from or looking at members from congregations. So the goal is that we don't want to discount anyone. So we know that a lot of people in our respective congregations may be a small business owner. And so we want to invite them to participate as well. Kevin mentioned a barber, it could be a hairstylist, it could be a photographer who is in your church that has a small business, or if you know of attorneys in your church. And of course, we have the opportunity for corporate grants as well. And there might be a person in the congregation who works for a larger company that offers grants to nonprofits that may be a good connection for you as well. So we don't want to discount anyone. And I also wanted to mention that we know that there are Thrivent grants available for UCC members, and so we want to make sure that you are aware of those and have that opportunity to apply. There are $250 grants that can be provided to support the overhead costs associated with putting on your crop walk. So don't discount any business at all.
Excellent, Roberta. And you mentioned UCC Thrivent grants, but I also want to bring up the Lutherans. Don't forget the Lutherans. Believe it or not, Thrivent for many years was Thrivent Financial for Lutherans. So a lot of people in Lutheran congregations are members of Thrivent, which means that they can all access the $250 action grants that are provided to all their members. So if you haven't checked into it yet, talk to your nearest Lutheran. All right, encourage walk teams from the businesses. Now here's an idea, and as you heard with Truly Good Foods, they're both a sponsor and a walking team, and there are lots of benefits for being a walk team. But maybe that's an easier approach. The kind of camaraderie they build from having a team in this kind of event. And even if they don't want to be a sponsor this year, they may just want to have a team. But next year they may want to do both. So especially if they have a really good time. So don't forget to ask about having them become a walk team.
So consider your congregation, congregations as a possible sponsor. I have several of my crop hunger walks that secure sponsorship from every congregation that participated in the walk. So they set a specific amount that each congregation will contribute towards sponsorship, and that's above and beyond what that congregation's walk team will raise to support the walk. Our experience has been that when a congregation support a crop hunger walk for 1 year, it's highly likely that they will continue to support that walk. So we, in many of our communities, we set a fixed amount, and those funds are just included in the church's budget every year, and they're donated towards sponsorship for that walk. So continue to ask your congregations to sponsor the event. So Kevin, you want to add anything else?
Well, no, just exactly what you said. This is because we call these business sponsorships or corporate sponsorships or something like that. This gets overlooked, and approaching a mission committee from a congregation and making them a sponsor. Honestly, it makes the congregation feel like a co-host of this event. You know,
Absolutely.
it's they want to be on the back of the shirt and recognized by people that this is something they believe in. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so it turns out to be a great experience having
Absolutely.
congregations as also
And that's a great point, Kevin, because we do see the Crop Hunger Walk as a real community-wide event. And we want these walks to be a true reflection of the community where the walk happens. And so to that end, when we have our sponsors and we're offering t-shirts, and on those t-shirts, we have congregations that are sponsors. We have businesses that are sponsors. We have schools and small groups. It truly reflects the community where the walk is happening. So I think it's important to be inclusive, especially when we're securing business sponsors.
all right. Great tip. Okay, another tip, and some groups are probably already doing this as a first shot of foray into doing sponsorship. But don't forget your in-kind sponsors. I know Coca-Cola or some of the soft drink groups will provide maybe some drinks or snacks, grocery stores, drinks or snacks. Maybe get a media sponsor, someone that would give you some airtime at a television station or radio stations and radio spots. On our website, we have samples of what a quick radio spot might look like for like 15 and 30 seconds long, that kind of thing. So in-kind sponsorships are always a lot of fun to ask for, and you're kind of always surprised by things you get. I know, Roberta, you were telling me gift cards are very strong with a lot of your walks. You're able to get those from business sponsors too. Did you have some specific examples on those, or?
Well, several of my walks get gift cards from Food Lion, local grocery stores, because I know Food Lion may not be in all of our communities, but local grocery stores to purchase snacks for the walk. I think there isn't a city in the US where there isn't a Walmart, and Walmart has been really good about offering gift cards as well. I think it's also important to remember that we need to decide early about business sponsorship, and we need to ask early, because for a lot of these corporate groups, they require advance notice in order to provide, even if it's a gift card. It's important for us to make sure that we're allowing adequate time to be able to receive the donation that we're requesting.
All right. Now, I know we ran through these tips pretty quickly, but just so you know, we do have a handout that lists all of these. They don't come with the fancy animations that I put into the PowerPoint, but they you do have a handout that'll list all of those particular tips and some of the suggestions Roberta and I've been making. There is one more slide here, so let's go to dun, da, da, how to consider the logistics. Okay, this is a little bit in the nitty gritty, but I wanted to show you where to look for this. So I'm going to give up my screen now, Heather, and you take it over, I believe.
Oh, am I doing that
right?
now?
Yes, you're going to
Oh,
the business
okay.
toolkit.
All
Now,
right.
there's some
Um,
things you might, oh, go ahead, Heather.
Can you see this? The
I can
24
see the resource
walk
page,
page?
yes.
Okay, I just thought I would show them quickly. The
Good.
business
Yeah.
toolkit that we're going to go over, if you would like to get to it, it's the main walk page, resources, and then involve your community, and there is a business toolkit here. Click on it, and it's a download. So you guys can see it. I had to download it. And this is what it's going to look like.
All right,
And you
looking
want
good.
this,
Yes,
right?
stop on the wheel and I'll make a few comments on
Okay.
that. Okay, so this gets into the nitty gritty and I don't want to go into a lot of detail because you'll be able to just download this for yourself and spend some time with it. First thing I'll mention is when you start talking about the specifics of how you handle the sponsorship money, contact your Church World Service representative and talk it through with them because they know the shortcuts. But this form that you can download right here has a little bit of everything you might want. You might, I mean, it's got the things about how to ask for donations and the kinds of donations and things like that. But it also has your thank you letters and an invoice for an invoice template. Things that you're going to need to send a thank you letter. You're going to need to send a letter requesting the donation. So these are examples that are right on here. Keep going, Heather. Scroll down to towards the bottom. The final two, in fact, in this sponsorship thing are the donation levels, and these are the ones I mentioned with examples of what you might have at the different levels: the 250, the 500, the $1,000 level. Go on down. And there's even a commitment form that you might want to give to people. This could be a front and back. Here's on one side shows you the levels that a sponsor would get. On the back is your commitment that you want to get from them. Get them to check a box, fill out their name and organization, and mail the check to your business sponsorship person. Or you may want to send it straight on to Elkhart, Indiana, to our national office. Now, that brings me to one of the other logistics. How do you handle the money? Now you can have a local church or local nonprofit agency if they are willing to keep this money for you. And then you might have access to it to pay your bills, pay for the t-shirts, pay for the porta-johns or the permits, that kind of thing. And that could be easy access for you. But it's not always an easy thing to do. I mean, it's not always easy enough to find. Some businesses or local agencies don't want their money kind of to get confused accounting wise with their own nonprofit things. So Church World Service also has an account. It's up in Elkhart, Indiana, and it's called the Friends of Crop account. And this would be where you keep all your sponsorship money. So when you get your checks, or if somebody wants to give a credit card, that's fine. You send it up to Elkhart, Indiana, the Friends of Crop account. There's a wonderful woman named Elise Miller who handles these accounts, and we all work with her a lot. And she'll just keep your balance. And whenever you want to confirm what you've got in there, she'll tell you. And then when it's time to pay some bills, pay that T-shirt vendor to pay for the permit or something like that, you end up sending Elise an email, and she pays them. So it's a fairly easy process to do that and set it up in Elkhart. But talk with your Church World Service representative to make sure you've got the process down. Anyway, that's it for all of our tips and tricks at this point. Heather, do you want to ask about questions and things?
We do have some questions, and you kind of answered them, a couple of them, but okay. Well, the first thing is I told Victoria that I would mention this. She says that the local NPR station mentions their crop hunger walk for free, and I know I also had a walk that we would do an interview every year on that. So that's a way to get notice out of your walk.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And then, are business sponsor donations considered tax deductible if used for T-shirts and other walk expenses? I see in the sample donation request letter, it states that donations to Church World Service are tax deductible. So would checks made out to Friend of Crop? Yes, they are tax deductible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes they need some special documentation to show that businesses will decide on their own how they're paying you for the sponsorship. It may be an outright donation to the walk. It may be out of their marketing fund or something like that. But you kind of leave those decisions up to them. They may need additional documentation, which the national office can send.
Yeah, if anything comes up that you just don't know, ask your staff person on your walk, and they will. If they don't know it, they'll figure it out for you.
The quick answer is yes, Church World Service, tax deductible.
Let's see. Oh, do you typically ask the church sponsors to give the same level as a business? Would you do that?
I'm not sure what Roberta does.
Not necessarily. It varies. So in one of the communities where I work, we have a fixed amount that we ask all of the churches that participate in the crop walk to donate towards the sponsorship. And then in other areas, we provide them the same levels of sponsorship that we would do for a business. And they decide at what level they want to sponsor at. So it just varies, just depending on your community and just what you think will be received well by your by the churches that participate.
Now I'm going to answer this one because it's an easy one for me to answer. It is you can actually make a business donation on the Crop Hunger Walk site. So when you go to crophungerwalk.org and you go to the top, there's a donate and it drops down, and one of those is for corporate sponsorship. So they can do it that way online. And
yes, I agree, but I would always talk that over before arranging that with your CWS representative, just because you want to make sure it gets into the right account.
And then this is
lots of walks that have these accounts, and you want to make
there
sure.
are lots of Friends of Crop, so don't be shy. If you think your walk wants one, contact your staff person. This is more of a comment. Sorry, when somebody adds one, it bumps it around. It says that they're actually finding that larger businesses that give regularly to their walk have online portals that you can go to and sign up on. So note that. And then do you ever tell congregations that they can sponsor at a certain level, but this will be waived if $5,000 is raised?
Interesting.
I have not done that.
No, I haven't done that either. I like to keep sponsorships, especially when I'm talking to congregations, as simple as possible. It's not a bad idea, and having those incentive things works for a lot of groups. I don't want to talk anybody out of that, but especially if the congregations have never been a sponsor before, you might have to explain it to them. This isn't walk money. This is different. This helps us put on the event. You're co-hosting the event with us. And so you get a commitment from their mission team. So I like that to be all the explaining I have to do. The levels and the incentives, it could work. And then you tell us about it. We love those stories.
And then we can share it on a webinar.
That's right. That's right.
I think it's important that everyone knows this is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. I think you have to be creative. You have to do what works well for your committee, for your community, and just do so in consultation with your CWS staff. So we do things differently, but our goal is always towards ending hunger, towards raising funds to end hunger. So let's be creative, even with our business sponsorships.
I would totally, I 100% agree with that. And then we had Victoria has had a lot of things on here, not to call you out, Victoria, but you are questioned and I love it. So I think we answered this though. Where is the money sent? It's sent to Elkhart if it's Friends of Crop. And then and is there a spot that spells out how to do that? Well, that's inside that business toolkit. And I showed you how to get to it. But again, ask your staff. That's what we're here for. Our job is to support you. If you don't ask us, we can't help you. And then is there any more questions? Okay, I'm going to say that there are not any more questions, but if you, when we are done with this, if you in an hour think, oh, I have a question, well, send it to your staff. And we'll get you an answer. And like I said, if we don't know it, we'll figure it out. And with that, I'm going to let Roberta and Kevin close us out.
All right, thank you, Heather. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We certainly hope that what we've shared in this short time has been helpful to all of you, and that you will pull one or two of our tips and tricks that you can try in your local community. We believe that business sponsorship is a win-win situation for all. So, you know, when we get those dollars in, we're able to do really creative things for our Crop Hunger Walk. And then also the business that sponsors the event also get good publicity as a business sponsor, as a business in the local community. So we certainly want to encourage you to get out there and solicit those business sponsorships because they certainly will add value to your Crop Hunger Walk. So thanks again to all of you for joining us. If you have any questions that we have not been able to answer, as we said before, reach out to your CWS staff person, and we are hopeful that you will enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
I will put the link to the business toolkit in the stuff that goes out, so you guys have just a link to get right to it. And thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.